So, Greg, the crux of the issue is the completion of the circle of care. And with many of our clients' practices, it's missing a final link between patient and provider. WeCare, by bringing in the care management staffing, completes that circle of communication and completion of what's necessary to get things done.
Got it.
So let's just take a look at, a few different items related to that. One of those pieces in completing that circle is deals with missed phone calls. One of the biggest challenges in a practice is actually picking up the phone. Many practices miss calls. Calls go to voicemail and they stack up. And a practice doesn't have the resources to be able to return those calls and those messages in a timely fashion and give the service that the patient so much needs. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And we have spoken to providers recently that their biggest challenge is that a patient calls at 10 a.m. Nobody picks up the call. And then at 11:30, they call back, whether it's about a prescription or an appointment or referral, and nobody calls back. And now their irate level is going up. Now when they call back at 1 o'clock, they are furious. And how does WeCare help those situations?
Good question. So WeCare provides a dedicated care management line for the patient to access, which gives them direct access to their care management team. We pick up those calls live all the time so that the patient has the connection with the clinic, and we facilitate.
I do have a story to tell about that happened to one of the clinics that we were onboarding with. The clinic had went out and spent a substantial amount of money to get a very sophisticated answering service that was going to solve all their problems. Unfortunately, it was so sophisticated that neither the clinic nor the patients could figure out how to use it. And I know you know who I'm talking about. And the answer was simply having WeCare answer the phone with a live human being that listened to them, took notes, and then followed up on it.
Exactly. So, Greg, the bottom line is that if the doctor's office can't pick up that phone, they lose the patient. And when they lose the patient, they lose the revenue associated with that patient. And they also lose all the wonderful referrals the patient will give when they do receive good service.
In discussing this with you earlier, Alan, you'd used the phrase, ring, ring, revenue gone. And I think that really hits home.
I agree. So, Greg, I think one of the biggest challenges for the clinic is that they don't know what they're losing. They don't hear from the dissatisfied patient. When that patient calls through 2 to 3 times to get their needs met in a day and can't get through, they simply disappear. The challenge is for the clinic, of course, to pick up those calls. And when the clinic doesn't know it's an issue, then it's invisible. That's why when WeCare comes into the practice and works with the practice, we analyze that data. We take a look at the missed call queues and we address that with the practice. One of the biggest things that we uncover and realize is how many patients haven't been to visit that clinic in the past year. With many clinics, there are literally hundreds and thousands of patients who have been in to see the clinic, but they're gone. They haven't been into the clinic in over a year, and the clinic doesn't even know it. So, Greg, one segment of what WeCare focuses on for the clinic is patient outreach. We systematically call those patients who have, quote, disappeared from the clinic and invite them back to experience that clinic once again, to reestablish that relationship between patient and clinic.
The one issue, Alan, that I find when speaking with patients that are no longer part of the clinic or are considering leaving the clinic, they take it personally that they were not seen as an individual, but just part of a group. And I think that's one of the things that WeCare does very well. We have that human touch point, that human outreach, that they're talking to somebody. And that's one of the issues that I see over and over, that a lot of patients that let us know that they're considering leaving the clinic. We really do a good job of connecting them with somebody at the clinic to make that connection. People want to be heard. They want to know that, hey, they had called and no one called them back. And they'll remember,
Yes.
2 years later,
Yes.
I called and no one called me back, and my wife needed something right then.
So, Greg, I think the connection between our health coach and the patient creates relationship. That relationship is key to stickiness and to providing good care for that patient with the clinic.
Now, stickiness, what does that mean? That's an unusual word. I like it.
Well, we kind of use that word stickiness at WeCare. The more sticky we become in creating relationship between patient and clinic, the happier the patient is. And when the patient is happy, they continue to come to the clinic. And even more importantly, they tell their friends about their positive experience.
I like it.
So, Greg, one of the biggest values of the health coach is that the health coach solves problems and they solve them now, rather than referring the patient to a phone number to follow up with their labs or on the referral to another physician or to a pharmacy to solve their problems. We hold their hand. We care. Our health coach takes them through the process of connecting with whomever they need to connect with to solve the issue, and we do it right now.
So they give them the phone number and say, hey, call this number and good luck?
Absolutely not, Greg. What they do is actually make the call with that patient on the phone right then, connect the dots, and solve the problem. Case done.
Got it. Another issue, especially with a lot of patients that are Medicaid, is the social determinants, which is a buzzword that's being used now because it is so important to provide this kind of support. What exactly does social determinant mean, and how does WeCare apply that?
Good question. Social determinants, Greg, are in the space of healthcare, refers to the patient having access to everything that surrounds their world, not just their medical world, but meeting their basic needs. Things like food, transportation, just being able to access their world. So WeCare serves as kind of a concierge service to help connect the patient with whatever services that patient needs, which creates mental stability at the end of the day.
Sure. I like the term concierge. That's really important. One of the issues we do hear from the clinics a lot is transportation. You can have the best doctor in the world, but if you can't make it to the appointment, it loses its value.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And many markets, for many of our clients, the system has access for transportation, even free transportation, so that the patient can get to the clinic and get their medical needs solved.
Got it.
We facilitate the process of the patient accessing those things by holding their hand virtually and connecting the dots. WeCare acts not just as an extension of your front desk, but through our dedicated care line given to the patients. When a patient calls in and we pick up that phone, we actually facilitate action on what is needed for that patient right then and there, rather than just simply referring that patient to a different department or a different resource for care. So we take it the next step in providing that care right here and right now. And we plug the leaks in your revenue. The great thing about the addition of the care management team to the physician system is that we have access to the entire system, which allows us to do many things. Not only view the patient file, but also to book appointments, for example, if that's what the clinic wishes us to do, as well as many other things, so that we can take action and have the ability to take action here and now. So, Greg, in WeCare's view, running a medical practice is not done by just one individual, the provider. It's a team effort. From the moment someone calls into that clinic to their experience when they walk into the clinic and are seated, to actually seeing the provider, and then to be able to have the assistance to follow through with what the provider requests of the patient as well. The care team at WeCare helps complete that whole process. as part of that team?
That's Alan. That's really a great point. When we do surveys, which we do with our patients, both to get feedback for ourselves to improve, as well as information to pass on to the clinic. Oftentimes, the patient is focused on not the clinical event that took place, but all the other that led up to that, all the other events that led up to that, how long it took to be seen, whether they have a relationship with somebody there. And they'll connect very quickly to somebody that works there, that is friendly and nice to them, and they focus on that person.
So here's another question. How quickly does your team follow up on voicemails? In a busy market, is it fast enough for today's patients? How many patients are you losing to missed calls? If the answer isn't 0, give us a call. WeCare can get you there.